Okay, welcome everybody back to I Refuse to Fail 1530 events. And as most everybody in the room knows, we pick a topic, a business topic to discuss. And today we're going to talk about choosing where and how you promote your business. Okay, whether it's marketing, referrals, whatever it is, and do you do it at all? And and what we'll do is just have a discussion about that. And I'm going to kind of kick it off with kind of a general discussion on this is that there are so many places that people can utilize to market, whether it's a networking platform or just getting referrals, or there's so many different ways you can promote your business, and so many things available to you, whether it's paid or not. I mean, some people are a part of that group that's if it ain't free, it ain't for me. And if that's all you use, let's discuss that. Or if you have some paid areas that you find effective, it might be interesting for other people to discuss that. So if anybody would like to raise their hand and discuss promoting their business, Rob, go ahead and unmute and tell us what you got to say.
Thanks, Carl. So a couple of things. Number one, I've tried to use LinkedIn in the past to some degree of success. If what I wanted to offer, I do have a link for a short course that kind of guides you through using LinkedIn more robustly and more effectively. I actually shared it with Greg. If anyone would like that, I'd be happy to share it with them, free of charge, of course, there's no charge. It's a real good course, and it might help you out on LinkedIn using it more effectively.
Yeah, go ahead and put that in the chat. And also, if anybody that's viewing this needs it, they can contact me at I Refuse to Fail, and I'll save that and share it with them, or they
Oh,
can contact.
yeah, on that subject, I sent Rob a link to a different course that's basically about how to use LinkedIn's free features, and the course is free. I'll put that in the chat if you like.
Okay. And but Rob, I appreciate that. And I will say this though, all these platforms, regardless if it's LinkedIn or Facebook, Alignable, our new connections directory, you have to figure out whether it's going to, you got to have to figure out how to make it work for you. Okay, and then I think because I'm on a couple other platforms, but I may not use it the way somebody else uses it. I use it in a manner that's going to work best for us. We use LinkedIn for our I Refuse to Fail partnership, because what we do is we post all our partners interview videos about their business twice a week on all of our particular LinkedIn accounts. So literally thousands of eyes have an opportunity to see it, which is something we do in the I Refuse to Fail partnership that I don't think any other group does. And we have it automated, so we don't have to post it ourselves. So it's kind of convenient. But who else? Anybody else have anything
Yeah,
about?
Carl, one other thing I wanted to mention while I have the floor here is, so one of my target markets is health insurance brokers. So another way of marketing other media for me is to look for local chapters of health insurance brokers, see if I can get invited to their meetings, and then try to network with them and maybe even give a short presentation on healthcare health plan calculator. So I guess another media then is just local, chapters of your target markets that maybe you could try to attend their meetings and get to know those people and do some networking.
How do you specifically find those brokers? I mean, when you're targeting it.
So what I've been doing is just looking online for the local chapters of these brokers. Another target market for me is HR professionals. There's a group called SHRM, SHRM, I believe it is. And there are local chapters of SHRM. I have not gone to one of those yet, but my goal is to, get invited and go and network and, start chatting with people.
Okay, Louise.
I like to have myself marketed in as many places as possible. So I have a YouTube channel and I upload a new video every week. It's not the greatest video, but it does add new content to my website every week. I go on as a guest to different people's podcasts. Usually it's about writing or editing, and I am featured as an expert. I also send out press releases. And then, of course, I use the social media and email marketing.
Yeah, I think that's good. I really don't think you can, there's too many people that work too many hours in their business instead of on their business. And because if you're working all your time in your business, at some point in time, you're gonna have to stop working in your business and then switch over to work on your business. You're better off working on your business. And then if you start getting too busy, start getting too much business, for heaven's sakes, which I've never heard that before, but if you got too much business, that's when you actually start forming a business. You start adding people and you're able to farm out other stuff, and now you really have a growth potential. But I really think people should work more on their business than they do in their business. And so you can't be in too many places. And it's not about necessarily selling. It's about branding. It's about getting known. In the Tampa Bay area for years, I had a networking organization called Tampa Bay Networkers, and I could be in Tampa somewhere at an event that I hardly ever go there. It's like 30, 40 miles. And I'd be there and they say, "Oh, aren't you that networking guy?" Because they see you, so you get branded after a while, which can't be anything but a positive thing if they're remembering you. Jeff?
Thanks, Carl. A couple of things. I started marketing to individuals back before they had a do not call list. So I actually, if anybody remembers what a phone book looks like, that's how I started. And I remember that distinctly because my first 5 clients were all named Mildred. Weird way to do it, but it worked. The other part of it is that I do a lot of business to business, and I have found a data source that works really well. It's from your library. It's used to be called Reference USA, and it's called Data Axle something or other. I'll put it in the chat. And you can search companies for everything from the sales volume, the square footage, the metro area, size of the employees, sales volume, whether they're corporate, private, almost everything you can imagine saleable, searchable, I should say, except for emails. It just doesn't have a lot of email capability. But I was raised on calling them on the phone anyway, so that's what I prefer. I know email gets a pretty good response, but if you've got a good way to get past the gatekeeper, that usually gets the decision maker anyway. So calling is usually more effective if you can get your message across in approximately 7 or 8 seconds, right?
Right. Well, yeah, the library is great. And a lot of people forget the library because we've got so much online access to everything. But that same program, I think our local library had one. It's called A to Z. And so they have different names for these, and they all do the same functionality, but it's a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of places to target and to find different things. But I mean, and the thing is that when you're marketing yourself and you start to get known, liked, and trusted as somebody that is doing business by other people, then it's like osmosis. I mean, it's kind of like other people will start referring you, and then you don't have to rely so much on that marketing. But you have to do something until you get to that point where, I mean, and networking is great. I had a lady that had worked with an auto repair shop when we were doing face-to-face networking. Debbie Brown, Louise, you might remember her. But anyway, she used to come to our meetings all the time, and she came up to me about 3 years after networking in our group. She said, "Carl, I hope you're not going to be mad at me, but I've gotten so busy I can't network anymore." I said, "Well, that's great that if you've gotten so busy you don't need to network anymore, but you might want to find somebody else to come network for you so you keep the ball rolling, or you network and hire somebody else to work in your office." And but I mean, it can happen. I mean, networking works if you can show that you are there to help people and not necessarily to sell people. So, Chris?
Yeah, here in Minnesota with our Relive group, we do a lot of different networking things. We do presentations at our local coffee shops and in our library. And I have sponsored local organizations. So then our logo gets out there and I get to do a couple minute presentation at the event. So that's a networking thing. I send out email marketing, which is good. And yeah, I belong to a speech organization, so I always get to do something there. We get to say something there, present ourselves there. So, and I do social media. So like you say, just to do something here and there everywhere. So you just get kind of known, right? Doing all these little bits and pieces. So yeah.
Yep. Yep, I agree. And you know, getting back to the networking thing, I don't want people to think that networking is about necessarily promoting or marketing your business. It should be almost a subliminal. You know, networking actually, if you think about it, network is to create a network of people who know, like, and trust you. And so you have your own network. And that's why I started the organization. I want a network of people that get to know, like, and trust me. And it's actually gotten to where people actually contact me. Hey, Carl, do you know somebody that does this? You know somebody? And I do that. Well, that just keeps me top of mind with people. So, you know, if people will get away from this business of, hey, I'm Carl Lucci, I'm a business consultant, contact me and I'm going to fix all your problems. That doesn't work. I mean, it might work sometimes, you know, look, the old saying, a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while, but it's a tough way to market your business. So if that's what your intention is with networking, I advise you to go advertise on a billboard somewhere. Okay, Jeff.
One other thing I happened to think about was I do mostly business to business. And so Facebook is not my best avenue, but I've gone on LinkedIn and I've not had a lot of success. But one thing that happened literally last week is I got onto something called a posting party and I 5x'd my views of my message without paying for any ads or anything like that. The posting party is pretty powerful. Posting party, pretty powerful. Peter Piper. Anyway, it at least got a lot more views. It hasn't taken all that much effect yet, but it's going to grow because of the you know, if you get 100 people, now you got 500 people. Those 500 people, it's now going to spread a little bit. And if you've got a decent message, hopefully it'll get the message out to more and more people. And that's what I wanted to do with my book.
Yeah, we've got a law firm. They're the largest law firm in the world, as I understand, called Morgan and Morgan. And if a lot of people out there probably have seen Morgan and Morgan, okay, they started right here. When I was in the television production business, we actually did his first commercials. Now he's got his own production studio. He's that big, and his advertising budget is over $100 million a year, just that alone. And that's just TV. Right now, he's on the back of on the side of a bus. He's on the back of a taxi. He's everywhere. Okay. Why did I bring his name up? Not because he's a good attorney. I brought it up because he's everywhere. I remember him. So the whole idea is if you're on billboards, if you're in as many different places as you can be, people are going to remember you. It's not that they're going to use you that day. I mean, it's like a billboard. You know, you're out there and people are driving by. And that's the reason why we post on LinkedIn and on the connections directory now, all of these events, and we post all of our I Refuse to Fail partners information and their videos. But we do video interviews. That's why we do it. We're putting it out there as often as we possibly can without, you know, making it like spam, and just to get that top of mind. And so, you know, it doesn't mean instant business. What it means is you're branding it. So you have to be out there wanting to brand yourself. If you're looking for things to do that don't cost you money, obviously, if you're looking to do paid, that's probably even better because that's usually a more instant gratification. But even that takes time. You can't advertise or promote yourself anywhere one time and expect it to work. You've got to do it over and over and over again. So does anybody else have a comment on this topic or want to share where they're doing it?
Well, you asked for a comment. Morgan and Morgan, that guy must have been big if they named him twice. Just checking. Okay.
Well, yes, and there's actually Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and Morgan because he's got a whole family full of attorneys. So, but they left it at Morgan and Morgan. But you know, that's another thing, Jeff. We have a lot of attorney firms that do that. There's a Anderson and Anderson. There's a couple of them. There's a couple twins that do. And why do they have to? Why don't they just call it Anderson Law Firm? But that's another whole topic for another day. But anyway, all right. Well, listen, we got this one through this one pretty quick, but I still think it's kind of interesting topic, and I'm really, you know, happy you all chimed in because I think it's an interesting topic about, because a lot of people, I think they really don't know where or how to market themselves. And but I think it's important to understand that I don't think there's any really wrong way to do it. I think you just need to do it until and find if it works. If it doesn't work, do something else. David, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm new to this city. My mom left me a house. I refurbished the house, and we decided we'll just move down here. But getting started, especially with an insurance practice in a brand new city, is it's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah.
So I've kind of gone back to the old Zig Ziglar thing about, the way to get what you want in life is by helping enough other people get what they want. And so what I've done is I'm starting to establish, we had, the very first iteration of it this last first of the month. It's going to be the first Friday of every month, and we host it at a local restaurant, and it's a free networking meeting, just basically face to face, and people are invited. The restaurant is happy to provide appetizers and then be able to tell people about parties that they can host and things like that. So they're good with that. And everything costs. Chamber membership costs, and BNI costs. There's all kinds of things where, if you belong to more than 4 or 5 of them, you're probably looking at $1,200 or more a year just in membership fees alone. And so what I wanted to do is make it a level playing field for all of the businesses in the area. Whether you have 20 employees or whether you're a solopreneur, you would just bring your business card. That's your admission ticket. We'll get a few of the businesses who would like to be featured to have a door prize, and they can have 3 or 4 minutes to talk about their business in front of everyone so that everybody knows who they are then. And that's it. Hour and a half, first Friday of every month, and from like 5 to 7:30. And we started out small. I only had 8 people sign up show up for the first one. I had 30 people say they would be there, but you have to also check. You have to know that it was the day after Halloween, and so half of them had sick kids. And then the other one is that there was the crosstown high school rivalry that night. So probably not the best night to start, but you got to start.
Yeah, you do. And kudos for doing that. When I had Tempe Networkers, I actually had my banker. They had a pretty large bank. It was a regional bank. And I actually put on events for them, for the bank. And I told them to have all their business customers come so that the business customers could meet each other, because no other banks were doing that. What a great benefit for a bank if they brought all the other businesses together, because they all belong to the bank. And so I had to bring those, and that was pretty successful. Then the bank sold, so we didn't do it anymore. But you can do that. But going back to like the chamber, if you're new to an area, or even if you're not new to an area, chambers, not all of them are good, but you check them out. You can find out by talking to people who belong to the chamber. But a lot of times, like we have a local chamber that's a smaller one, and we got the larger one. The larger one's not nearly as good as the smaller chamber. I mean, they have a lot more events and a lot more things, but you just have to, everything either takes time or money or both. And so, but you have to invest in yourself and in your business, because nobody's going to knock on your door and ask you, oh, what do you got? I'd like to find out what you have. Nobody's going to do that. You've got to be proactive with this. And if you're not good at it, then you're going to need to get somebody to do it for you. But I think really the only way you're going to succeed in business is get out there and promote yourself. So, all right. So does anybody else have any final words on this? If not, I'm going to close this up. We're going to stop the recording, and we'll get this posted. And anybody that would like to out there that would like to come to one of our free I Refuse to Fail events, you can go to irefusetofail.com and sign up, and we'll be happy to include you in one of our discussions, and you have an opportunity to market yourself a little bit, about getting to know people here. But understand we're not here to sell, and you're not going to be here to sell either. So if you're looking to sell, we're not the platform for you. So anyway, I appreciate it, and I'm going to stop the recording.